David Hebert is an economist with the American Institute for Economic Research and joins us now live. David, great to see you.
Great to see you, too.
So the president has said, tariff is the most beautiful word. He's touted this idea that this is the way America will regain financial footing, power on the world stage as well. On one hand, you have some saying, yeah, it's about time we level the playing field here with these other countries. The other side saying this is going to be painful in the interim for small businesses, consumers. We can't sustain this. What do you believe are the biggest pros and cons to the president's strategy right now?
Yeah, it's a great question. So I think it's fair to say that a lot of countries, especially ones like China, do have abusive trade practices that we would love to see ended. And so in that sense, I got to give it to President Trump that I'm very happy to see a president who cares so much about that. The question before us, though, is will these tariffs actually achieve the results that President Trump has promised and that he's going for? And there, history has but one answer. Unfortunately, that answer is no. What we're seeing right now is just an increase in the cost of doing business in America, an increase in the prices that you and I and every consumer in America are paying, and decreases in particular in the manufacturing sector, particularly in areas that are prone to using imported intermediate goods. Now, this is really hard to square with the president's America First agenda.
And the president said 90 deals in 90 days back in April. We haven't seen all of those deals come to fruition. This uncertainty, as you know, David, it's impacting the markets, consumers. We know he's sending these letters to countries now. How long is this uncertainty sustainable? And I guess that answer is different depending on who you are.
Exactly. It's going to depend on who you are, right? If you're the president, the uncertainty can last forever because, frankly, I don't see him backing away from this tool no matter what evidence comes in. Now, look, jobs in manufacturing are not growing very quickly. In fact, in a lot of states, like my home state of Michigan, they're actually on the decline. The steel industry and the aluminum industry are in shambles. Despite all the protections of the previous Trump administration, the continued protections of the Biden administration, and the redoubling of efforts here. And so what I'm seeing in markets is exactly what you would expect. Every time tariffs are put in place, the market comes down. Yes, we are at historic highs, but keep in mind that we were really high coming into this presidency. The growth rate of the stock market has not been that fast. It's actually been remarkably slow. And this is the incredibly troubling thing. On top of all of that, if you were to look at the trade deficit figures, which were just released last week, the trade deficit is up 20% because imports are down, but exports are down even more, reflecting the idea that it's hard to make things in America when you can't get the inputs that you need.
Well, it is without a doubt a high stakes play. Some say, the winnings are big. There's also the potential to lose. There has been so much talk also, David, of a trade deal with China, and that being potentially massively consequential and also perhaps having a domino effect. What's your read on those points? Do you think that would be the result?
So if there's a good trade deal with China, and by good, what I mean is it lowers trade barriers for both countries compared to what we had when President Trump took office. If that is achievable, that will be a tremendous boon for America and China together. The reality is that there are three economic superpowers in the world: the U.S., the EU, and China. If those two, if U.S. and China can come together and find a deal that makes it easier for both countries to trade than it was when President Trump took office, not compared to his 145% tariffs. We need to compare this to what was under the Biden administration as well. If that deal comes through, that would be hugely and incredibly powerful for the American people.
And we have about 30 seconds left, but I wanted to bring it back to the consumer. What would your advice be for anyone hoping to make a big purchase, like a home or a car right now? I think that's been a question on a lot of minds.
This is the really tough thing because on the one hand, you've got massive tariffs that are changing day to day. You've got the president putting pressure on Jerome Powell to lower interest rates, which would, help the American people buy more things, but it would also kick off inflation because look at the unemployment rate and the inflation rate right now. They're both in the wrong area for cutting rates. So when it comes to making big purchases, it's really hard for me to give concrete advice at this moment, given all the uncertainty surrounding quite literally every aspect of those decisions.
Yeah, it's a difficult market to navigate on just about every front. David Hebert, thank you for weighing in. Appreciate it.